Now it's time for our daily arts and culture interview. Born in Zimbabwe and bred in South London, Eska is a singer, a multi-instrumentalist and a songwriter. She's performed with artists such as Grace Jones and the legendary Nigerian Tony Allen, and she's just released her debut album. I'm delighted to say that Eska is with me in the studio, but before we speak to her, let's hear a little of her music.
Gatekeeper, where there's no wise leader, there is no brighter lighter, but you keep letting it in, let it in, let it in, let it, let it in. Gatekeeper, here is your reminder. There is a wiser teacher, but will you let him in? Let him in, let him, let him in, let him, let him in.
Well, that was Eska, and Eska is here in the studio, and that is obviously a song on your debut album. A very distinctive style. Is that something that you have worked on in terms of wanting to be different in terms of your voice and your tone? Is that something that you think will enamour you to the audience?
Well, I think, you know, everybody's an individual, and with music anyway, it's certainly about the pursuit of trying to find yourself within music and try and find your own identity, what makes you distinct. You know, why me? Why am I making music? And I had to ask myself those questions in the process. Why am I making this material, and what is going to be its distinctive, you know?
And what is the album about? Is there a theme that runs throughout it, or is it just some of your favourite songs?
Well, you know, obviously it's inspired by, you know, events in my life. There's no doubt about that. But at the core of it, it was really about me trying to explore what I sound like, what actually it feels like for me being alive today, and kind of Eska in sound.
And it's your debut album. How's it been creating it? Has it been an inspiring process, a difficult one? Always
inspiring, difficult, complex, all of the above. You know, I think you have to pursue it over and over again, doggedly. You have to kind of keep on, you know, trying to dig deep in order to find the truth and the reality of who you are in your creations. Yeah.
You were born in Zimbabwe. How much Zimbabwean influence is in your music?
Oh, well, you know, I say Zimbabwe's in my blood, London's in my heart. So, you know, there's no escaping, you know, my roots. And so to what extent that comes out in the music, I'm never sure.
And just how inspiring is London as a place to create music with all the different strands of culture that London contains? How much has that affected, do you think, your music, the fact that you've been making it in London?
What a melting pot for starters, you know. It's the best city in the world to be creative. You know, it challenges you because you rub shoulders with so many different cultures and styles and ways of life. And that, when you actually allow that to influence you, I mean, you get the most incredible hybrids, and London's famous for that, you know, creating new sounds.
You have a degree in maths. What was it that made you think music is what I want to do?
Well, I never stopped doing music alongside, you know, my degree, and music never left me, and I always feel that music found me and not the other way around, you know. So, but for me personally, I thought it was actually really important to have my mind ticking on other things, and so it wouldn't be the all-consuming thing that it now has become.
And you not only sing in your new album, you play violin, cello, clarinet. You're clearly a very, very musical person. Is that just, has music always been in your blood?
Yeah, I think it's in everyone. You know, it's just how you kind of, how you unpack it, how you find that for yourself, and the desire to go on that journey, really. So I don't think that you know, for me, you know, the maths and the music, you know, there's a lot of overlap and exploration of distances and sequences and all these patterns and shapes and all these things. So there's a lot that's actually quite a common thread, I felt, in the things that I've studied growing up.
Do you sing live often, or is it more pre-recorded stuff that you do?
Live predominantly. That's my background. I come from a very strong live performance background, whether it's been in you know, classical, my classical roots in school, through to the gospel, church background, and then doing jazz, and so very much, you know, I kind of got my music degree on stage.
And with all of those influences, it must be quite easy almost to create what you want. Having had a classical background, having done jazz, playing all of the instruments that you play, you can't be short of inspiration.
Well, you know, sometimes, you know, I felt like the girl who had too much, and sometimes, you know, you get overwhelmed by how much you know and how much you have around you. So the process of making this record was very much about distilling all of that and trying to get the best out of the things that inspire me, you know, take the best elements, and that was tricky, but a great process.
And what are your songs about? Obviously there's a range of issues, but what are the songs that, is there any theme that you focus on in the album?
Well, interestingly enough, I mean, I kind of discovered this at the end of the songwriting process, that there seems to be a love of, you know, mythology, and this does seem to be a kind of running, a thread in the narrative of the songs, and so I kind of make references to all these characters, Persephone and Joshua in the Battle of Jericho, and Narcissus, and they come up in my lyricism. It wasn't a conscious thing at the time, but at the end of it, I kind of realised that it's almost seemed like a heroine's journey in some sort of myth, in my own myth, my own heroine's journey.
Yeah, in the subconscious. You've obviously released this, your debut album. What is the plan going forward? Another album? Continue with your live work, obviously?
All the above. And, you know, I get continuing to ask myself questions as a creative. What is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to achieve? And I hope music's part of that.
And a very rustic feel here. We're sitting on hay bales in what looks like a barn. Is this the music video that you've got? Have you got more like this?
No, well, the next one's going to be quite contrast to the barn. Yeah, and that'll be out in the next couple of weeks.
Can you give us a sneak peek? What's the plans for the next one?
Well, it's actually my debut single, which is called Shades of Blue, and that's all I can say for now.
Leave the audience hanging. Well, it's great to have met you, and you are performing obviously live. Are there any locations that the audience watching, if they want to come and see you, where can they find you? Yeah, well, the next stop is Bristol, the Lantern at Colston Hall 2, on the 27th of May, and then we've got festivals throughout the summer. So I hope I get to meet some fans and make new ones on the road throughout the summer. I'm sure you will, Eska. Eska, thank you very much indeed for coming in. The music sounds great, and best of luck with the new album, of course, and the live work. Thanks a lot.